Again, welcome to another sort of first-person perspective video of an airsoft rifle. I've got a couple of pistols coming up, such as this KJ Works Glock 23, but not the normal. In fact, there's very little KJ Works left on it. It's almost totally guarded up with different guarder parts, aluminium slide frame, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be doing a video of that soon. Anyway, back to topic. As you can see, it is the ICS, good Taiwanese company, SIG series rifle. This particular one is not the SIG 551 SWAT shown, that's got the boring polymer handguard, normal length barrel. It's not the SIG 552 that's got the boring handguard and a weird long barrel. It is sort of a combination of the two. It is the SIG 551 with full length metal railed handguard, weird long barrel, so it's a very long gun, and they call it the MRS because it's got these sort of special things on that not a normal SIG will have. But anyway, it's the ICS SIG Sauer, or SIG, Swiss Arms, lots of different names they kind of go under. SIG 552, no, SIG 551, that's why it's so long. 551 long barrel version. I usually start with the box, but there's not really a whole lot to show here because I use it as my parts box. It's full of springs and things. But as you can see, ICS 151 must be the model. Something I'm not too happy about. Cybergun. I wish they would go away. I don't need Cybergun. I know they hold the licenses, but I really do not care for them. They are ruining the sport in places like France. And yeah. So yeah, I wish this had nothing to do with Cybergun. But unfortunately it does, so I'll have to live with it. Anyway, back to the gun. As you can see, it's hardly going to fit on camera there. If I have a quick sort of pan over. It's a good looking gun, I think, so anyway. There's quite a lot to talk about with it. For sort of comparison in this review, especially my pistol ones, I like to show something with it. I'm going to be comparing to the Cyma AK. You may wonder why, because you might think they're very different guns, but actually many people refer to the SIG series as the finest AKs ever made, because in terms of the operating mechanism and that kind of piston driven gas system, they're very similar in real life. Especially if you take one of these down, you can see just the way the bolt's made up. You've got the piston assembly, it is actually very similar. So that's why people say that, and I'm going to be comparing on certain points to that Cyma AK there. Anyway, as I usually do, I'm going to be starting at the rear of the gun. You've got the standard SIG style plastic stock. It's kind of a skeleton stock. As you might see, there's a cheek riser here, which is good for the scope. If you were just using iron sights, you wouldn't want this. You can remove it by simply pushing up and it'll fly off. This kind of thing should fit on a TM SIG. It's just a standard one for a SIG rifle. It's got trademarks on there. Not really much to say about it. Very solid, very dense. It is actually solid plastic. Well, not quite, but it's very tough plastic anyway. So if you're going to put a scope on here, you're going to want that, but for the purpose of the review, I think I'll take it off because I think it looks better without it, to be honest. Very skinny, but looks better. Anyway, so that's pretty tough plastic. It's not a really nice, polycarbonate or something. It's just ABS, a little bit shiny, but good enough for the purpose. Anyway, as you'd expect, metal button here, very easy, and it'll fold around. You've got some metal reinforcements here, and you simply slap it into place into that rail section there. Couldn't get much simpler than that. Sits alongside it, still allows access to the charging handle. That is, turn the sight off, that is if the cheek rest is not fitted. If you've got that cheek rest fitted, you cannot use the charging handle. So yeah, if you're going to be adjusting your hop up with the stock folded, pop the thingy off. First, to unfold, just pull, and it'll snap back. A little bit of wobble. It's actually got more wobble than the TM version of the gun that I've reviewed. Unfortunately, I don't own that gun anymore, so I can't do a comparison between them, but obviously I would if I could, because they're very similar guns. Anyway, looking at the pistol grip, which is of course another plastic part of the gun, you can see it's kind of this weird design that ICS have come up with. It says ICS on it. I don't like it, to be honest. I prefer the classic SIG grip, similar design to the M249 squad automatic weapon, that kind of grip. But this one, it's got ICS's normal motor cage with all the thingies on, all those lines. I don't find it very attractive. I think it's quite ugly, and it also doesn't fit the hand great for me anyway, because it's got this weird sort of indent here, which it feels like your finger should slip into, but the trigger guard's in the way, so you've got to hold it below that, which doesn't look right. Maybe it's for the thumb, but it's not great. Really, if I own this gun, it belongs to a friend of mine, I would certainly swap the pistol grip out for a standard one. Assume it'll fit, because I just don't like the feel of this. Anyway, standard trigger guard for a SIG means, because obviously Swiss soldiers are going to be wearing gloves or mittens or whatever, you can switch it to either side. That is of course metal. Most of what you're going to see around here is metal. You've got upper and lower receiver metal, bolt catch metal, pins are metal, fire selector, select lever, all metal of course, rails are metal, and pretty much the whole front of the gun's metal. So, looking at the fire selector, ambidextrous, as you could just see, it's on both sides. Got semi-automatic and full auto. This gun was actually upgraded by the previous owner, sorry. And it's a bit screechy. It might need new shimming or something, or a new motor, because it doesn't sound great. Anyway, it's not mine. That's not really my concern. But it's still usable. Still shoots fine. But, you know, my reviews are mainly about the externals of the gun, the quality and everything, rather than exactly how they shoot, so, yeah. Clicks into place alright, a little bit wobbly, but it won't fall off. Okay, unlike the TM design, you've got a button back here that says ICS on it. If you push that in, whilst that pin is removed, you can just slide it apart. One nice thing about this design is it is much more realistic in terms of field strip, and how you take the gun apart, as opposed to the TM version, which is a lot more difficult, lots of screws to undo. Same with the Cyma AK and the TM AKs. It's just simply a lot simpler. You just have to pop a few pins out and it's much more mechanical rather than unscrewing parts. Anyway, you've got a full length top rail. No sights are included in the package for the rear. Simply a flat rail there. You can see I've got an EOTech 552 on here. I'm going to actually do a review of these separately because I am currently selling them. We bought some of these from China, and they're surprisingly good quality. It's very hard to get a camera to focus on the dot, but there you go. It's a very crisp dot, different brightness levels. You've got green, red. Anyway, you know, I'll make a video of these separately and show you where you can buy them. But I'm selling those, so if you're in the UK and looking for an EOTech, I've got some of those in stock. As usual, excuse my knees, I'm kind of sitting below the camera here. Anyway, full length top rail, and I'll move on to the front soon. Right, on the body, the trademarks aren't sort of engraved like the TM, they're sort of laser etched on, so they're still nice. They might scrape off actually, but still they look good. This is all metal, unlike the TM. Even though it's sort of grey coloured like plastic, you have got a metal upper and lower. Not steel, just a sort of stamped, I guess, aluminium. Got more trades on the other side. Now, one thing that I do like much more about this gun, I'll just get rid of the magazine for now, is the charging handle. And the bolt assembly is much more realistic. You've actually got these rubber sort of wiper things. You've got a removable bolt handle. The TM is just one solid unit that just slides back and forth, doesn't do anything. With this, you can remove the bolt handle. You can cock it all the way back, which is really nice. You can do that on most ICS guns. Got full bolt travel. So you can see, revealing the hop-up unit inside, which is a good unit. And as you can see, it actually locks all the way to the rear, in between those rubber curtains. To release it, just slap the bolt catch down and it'll go. Show you that again. Cock and release. which is really nice because you can slam it back, adjust your hop up while shooting, release that, and you're ready to go again. So that's pretty much most of the receiver finished. It's quite solid because of the nature of the quick detach mechanism, how you can slide it apart so easily. It has got a bit of wobble. The TM the TM is more solid but more creaky. You kind of got to weigh up what you're after. You know, this is way more realistic, but it's got a bit of wobble. The TM is actually probably a bit more solid overall, but isn't very realistic and isn't metal, and it's a bit creaky because of the plastic. Anyway, moving on, we've got this huge rail system. It really is massive. You're never going to fill this up with accessories. As you can see, this foregrip, which is a really big one, is taken up about 1/10 of the space. Rails down the sides, rails on the top. The front sight did come attached, however, because I'm using a scope, I just popped it off. It's dovetailed in, very easy to remove. And this is an aluminium, all aluminium rail set. Something that kind of bugs me about it is, as you can sort of see in the join, it's actually a bit bent. I don't know if all of them come from the factory like this, but there's something about the way you tighten it up that means it kind of slopes downwards and makes the barrel a little bit down facing, which really annoys me, to be honest. But it doesn't really affect how it shoots, so I wouldn't get too bothered if I were you. But that's just something that gets to me a bit. The rail can be tightened by this. It kind of pushes it against each other and can be taken off by unscrewing that. You've got the usual SIG gas block, which is again metal. I don't think anything on here is steel, but it's all metal. You've got your adjustable gas block piece. Never going to need to use that. Finished off with an aluminium barrel and aluminium flash hider, which is 14mm counterclockwise in case you want a silencer on there. So it's all pretty standard really. Aluminium construction. It's quite solid. Very sharp actually. The way these rails are set out, getting ready for the review, did actually manage to... it's not going to focus on it, but you know, managed to cut my finger up trying to move this around because they're very sharp. So I'd suggest getting some rail covers covering it in as much as you can. Something I failed to mention as we were going down with the magazines. As standard, it comes with one of these really large... Actually, I'll get an 8K mag out. See the difference. Similar sized magazine. This holds about 50 rounds. It's a low cap. It's got these nice bullets in it. A bit shiny, but the TM is about half the length. They finish about there. These are full 30 round style ones. So you can choose between these, ICS high caps, and all the TM mags. They're all compatible. And obviously you can click two together with these. So not a whole lot to say about this. It has got one of those followers that will push every last BB into the gun, which is always nice. As I said, I'm going to do a quick comparison between a gun that I think is quite similar, certainly with the location of the charging handle and everything, the magazine release. As you can see for length, they're quite similar. I know I keep going on about this being a really long gun, but it's kind of contradictory. It feels like it should be a tactical gun, you know, with all the rails and everything. You feel like it should be quite a short, manoeuvrable gun, but it has got that extra barrel length. The AK, on the other hand, kind of seems like that length is suitable, seems about right. They've got sort of similar functions. Obviously this is a lot more basic. They're about the same weight. This is steel, this is aluminium, but there's so much more metal on this that it weighs more. Barrel length is about equal really. You're getting about the same barrel length on there. You just gotta... No, obviously you're getting a lot less rails on here. There's not really much you can do. Whereas if upgrading and sticking things to your gun is your thing and you want something different to an M4, go for this. As you can see, there's so much rail space on here. You can really customize it, and you're still not going down the normal path of just getting another M4. It's a nice unique gun. Hopefully out of the box they're not so screechy. Good trigger response, but a bit screechy. One last thing before I finish this off is, if I can find the right tool, how to get the battery out, because that's something that might puzzle you. It's actually these little semicircles. I'm going to need a screwdriver, so I'll grab one of those. Okay, here we go. If I show you what to do, you just turn that sideways, one on the other side, where is it? Turn that one sideways too, and the top section of the rail will come off. In here is enough room for pretty much any battery you could possibly fit in here, except a large type. Any mini type battery will go in here easily. As you can see, I kind of taped mine, I zip tied it down because otherwise it'll wobble around like crazy. There's so much space in here. That's a 9.6 volt battery. Comes with a mini Tamiya connector. So good for any mini type battery, but you can kind of see how the gun is composed. I can actually show you even further by, as I said, you unscrew the rail. Screwdriver isn't big enough, but by simply unscrewing that, the bottom section will fall away. Then you can pop out that pin, pop the button on the back, and the upper and lower will come apart. So I might do a separate video on that. I haven't seen a whole lot of disassembly videos for this gun, but that should give you an idea of how you can take it apart for yourself. Anyway, thank you for watching. As I said, I'm going to have a review of these scopes up, as well as a few others that I'm hoping to sell. Any questions, obviously drop a comment or send me a message. And as I said, we've got more guns on the way to review. TM G36K recoil, which is very nice. Might even review the little micro red dot that's sitting on top of it. But yeah, thank you for watching, and watch out for more reviews. Thank you.